Thank you, Graham, and welcome, everybody. Good morning. I sat over my coffee at breakfast this morning reading the synopsis of the new report by Robin Alexander into primary education and childhood. I don't know if you've seen this, which is published today, and ended up feeling rather depressed, having read about it, bemoaning the end of childhood as we know it, and how young children these days are stressed and overexposed, I think, was the view of some of the witnesses to technology and other things. I think it's going to stimulate some interesting debate. However, to cheer myself up as always and remind myself that actually outside there the world is still, as always, as mad as a box of frogs, I turned to Private Eye and just wanted to share with you something which cheered me up no end at 7:15 this morning. Maybe a little bit politically incorrect, but it did cheer me up wonderfully. And this is from the China Daily, from the wonderful section of Private Eye called Funny Old World. I just wanted to share it with you. Our 60 giant pandas produce over 300 tons of droppings each year, Jing Shimin told reporters at the Chengdu research base in Sichuan province. And we used to spend 6,000 yuan each month to get rid of the mess. But then we realized we could turn the droppings into something lucrative by asking local craftsmen to fashion souvenirs from the dung, instead of just burying it. Tourists love these animals, and now they have a chance to own a genuine handcrafted artifact made entirely from panda shit, which is guaranteed to be relatively odour-free. The droppings don't smell too bad because 70% of the dung is just the remains of the bamboo that the pandas are unable to digest. Before the craftsmen get to work, the panda dung is dried and sterilised at a temperature of 300 degrees centigrade to provide clean raw material for the manufacturers. Then the craftsmen sculpt each turd by hand into a small cuddly panda for the tourists to take home. With the Olympic Games coming soon, and maybe we ought to think about this for 2012, with the Olympic, I'm not sure what sort of dung we'd use, but anyway, with the Olympic Games coming soon, we are currently working on moulding the poop into statues of athletic pandas performing various track and field events. Isn't that wonderful? I hope to see you all bringing them back from Beijing in 2008. And actually, there are some strange things said and done out there in the world of ICT in schools at the moment. And I had reported to me from one of my team yesterday the outcome of a discussion that had happened during a head teachers meeting in one of the early wave Building Schools for the Futures authorities, because the organisation that I work for those of you who are not familiar with it, Partnerships for Schools, is the organisation set up to help to manage the UK's Building Schools for the Future programme, which is designed to rebuild or remodel every secondary school in England over the next 15 years, and in the process spend a very large amount of money on ICT in those schools. And the heads were discussing the implementation of their new managed service in the area, and this wonderful sentence in the conversation from one head went, "Well, everything's working so well. I don't know what we're paying all this money for a managed service for." I thought, exactly, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay, you're not going to have to listen to much of me this morning, and for which you should be very, very grateful. We've got a really good bill this morning. In the grand tradition of handheld learning, there will be a parade of men in suits coming onto the stage over the next 3 hours, chaired by another man in a suit. And but you know, if variety is the spice of life, and which I hope it is, then I hope you're up for a hot curry this morning, because we've got plenty of variety. Indeed, the 6 people who are going to come onto the stage this morning could probably have graced the stage of the London Palladium in the 1950s, and indeed 1 or 2 of them probably did. I don't know if you remember Tommy Todger and his talking tortoise from the 1950s, but if you can spot which one of our speakers this morning is Tommy Todger, or used to be Tommy Todger, there's a prize in that sense. The other major change this morning is there will, thank goodness, be a tea and coffee break or a toilet break. I don't know about you, I find it very difficult to get through a 3-hour session in the morning without a toilet break, so apologies to the person over there who sat in the seat that I was sat in yesterday morning. But it's, there will be a toilet break at 10:45 this morning. I got a little bit worried yesterday when Stephen Heppel, those of you who were in the plenary session yesterday afternoon, when Stephen Heppel started throwing PDAs around the room, in rather the way that my secondary school teachers used to throw exercise books around the room when I was at school. And it took me back to a rather interesting paragraph in the first draft of Angela McFarlane's report on the use of PDAs in Wolverhampton and Bristol, where she was speculating about the sudden trend for pupils wearing safety helmets in class. And now I think I know why. There we go. Okay, without any further ado, it's my great pleasure to introduce the first speaker. We're going to have 4 speakers talking about 3 projects in the first half of the morning. 3 real projects, people using handhelds with different groups of learners, from primary school through to adult learners in different parts of the world, from Durham to South Africa. And we're going to, at the end of that session 3, have Q&A around the project, the real project part of the session. So we're going to have the speakers one after another.